Hey Kaiju fans, this is kind of a unique video, but since I did release a video covering the remote control Godzilla 1954, I thought I would take a quick look at the instruction manual that kind of tells you how to assemble it. So I'll go ahead and thumb through that manual right now. Alright, so obviously I cannot read Japanese, but I think definitely going to be using the pictures as reference points. But basically this section covers the pieces of the Godzilla. You have the skin, you have some foam insert to add, I guess, body and volume to the model. You have the endoskeleton here from two different angles, and then you also get some supplies to basically put the figure together that is indicated here, and then you also get the remote control. This figure, as I did demo before, requires 3 D-cell batteries and 3 9-volt batteries, and you'll also recall that in the demonstration I kind of showed you guys where each of the batteries needed to be mounted. This is the warning card. I always find it pretty humorous, particularly with Japanese toys, but basically it says in one way or another that you can't touch certain parts of the figure while it's moving, otherwise it'll give you an electric shock. Second, when you're gluing the figure, you are using a type of sort of toxic cement, and you don't want to get in your eyes. Third, when you're sewing this figure back together, you could hit yourself. And then finally, I think there's some indications about not touching the figure when you've already inserted the batteries, as it could break it. Alright, returning to the manual itself, this section goes over the various channels you use to activate the functions of the remote control Godzilla. Again, I demoed this before. There's a forward motion button, a left motion, right motion, waving the head, waving the tail, and then the bark. And as I also showed you, you can combine all of them together and get a pretty good walking Godzilla. Okay, so this next section covers how the Godzilla actually walks, and instead of sort of raising his leg, it kind of does sort of a mini step, as there's these kind of two, I guess, control arms that gravitate down from the legs, and as they sort of pivot back and forth, you actually get movement. So he's not necessarily picking up his leg fully and literally walking across the room. I don't think this figure wasn't designed for that kind of technological achievement, but nevertheless it's a pretty cool way for the figure to actually move, so I think that's demonstrated here. In addition to that, there is some directions about how to actually put the endoskeleton in. Big one here is that you actually have to cut a line on the suit's neck in order to fit the head through it, which requires a little bit of precision, and you also have to put this pad behind the skin where the speaker would be. Okay, so these next sections here kind of talk about the endoskeleton itself. I think there's some mention about how you want to position the mouth once you put the endoskeleton into the skin itself. You do want to grease certain points on the inner half of the skin, otherwise the endoskeleton will get caught on the rubber and potentially damage the figure. This is actually how to put the figure, the endoskeleton, into the skin suit. There's a whole, I guess, difficult job to kind of do, and it's been many years since I've done this, but you have to kind of slide everything on, which is demonstrated here. You want to make sure that the on and off switch appears on the bottom of the tail. And then there's some additional functionality here. Can't really speak to all this since I can't read Japanese, and there's some final little assembly items to the feet to kind of complete this. Okay, so now that you've basically put in the figure, the endoskeleton into the skin, you now have to sew the Godzilla back up. And this took a little bit more time for those who are maybe not model enthusiasts, but basically there's this piece of plastic you have to kind of put under the skin itself, and then you have to essentially sew it with these, I guess you called metal prongs, and you sort of poke it through the other side and sew it up as tight as you possibly can, almost like a surgery, if you will. And then after you've sewn it all up, you have to line a bead of glue from the top all the way to the bottom, and then you have to wait a bit for all that to dry, and then you can pull the metal prongs out. And finally, there's just a few other things that need to be done here. So you basically have to fish the antenna out of the body so that you can have the transmitter communicate with the figure itself. You kind of put it down his spine to sort of hide it. They also recommend folding up some of this foam and sticking it into the leg area just to add that volume. And then you also have to connect a few wires with the battery harness, as I demonstrated already. Okay, this next section is all a bunch of writing, and certainly I'm not going to go through every line because I can't even read it, but basically I think it goes to tell you each of the costs of the figure, as well as some of the replacement parts, and I think there's some contact information if you wanted to acquire those products, those replacement items. I certainly don't think they offer replacements anymore, since this is well over 30 years old. But there's a little kind of a cool cartoon here of Godzilla. I think that's always nice to have. It basically has the insignia of Tokyo Marui, which made this figure. So yeah, that's basically it. A walk through the manual. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. And if you can, head on over to KaijuKingdomCollectibles.com. We have a variety of other Godzilla products that hopefully you will also enjoy. So until next time, thanks.